Hi everyone, my name is Yiğit Turak and I am a SynAck team member. Welcome to the Cyber Talks. It's a chance for SRT members to break down various trends and topics from an advisorial and technical point of view. Today I'm gonna discuss critical vulnerability management process from incident response perspective. At first, I would like to introduce myself. I am working at ING as a senior incident response expert. I have 12 years experience in the different disciplines of security like penetration tester, support engineer, security architect, incident responder, and I am also SynAck team member as well. This is the today's agenda and I'm gonna talk about the problems, critical vulnerability management process, simple incident response playbook, and I'm gonna give an example, then wrap up the session. The organizations are usually facing with some issues on the definitions of the terms, like what is the threat, what is the vulnerability or critical vulnerability, and they are sometimes struggling while handling a critical vulnerability due to no clear process. Also, sometimes the organizations having issue with the lack of awareness of IT guys sometimes or management, it can be a problem for the organizations. So how we can fix those problems? With having, I think, a definition of critical vulnerability. So in my organization, we are calling as a critical vulnerability if the CVSS score is higher than 9.5. It works for my company. Maybe you can change it, but yeah, we decided to do that. Then we want to make a decision. The vulnerability can be fixed within the standard patch management process, or IR team should be involved. We ask three questions, and then if all answers are no, so it is triggering the patch management process. But if one or more answers are yes, then incident response team are involving the threat. Then incident response team should have a playbook. So in my organization, we defined a very simple playbook for critical vulnerabilities. It is including four-phase, identification, investigation and containment, monitoring and detection, remediation and recovery. In the identification and the verification phase, we registered it as threat. Then we need to understand the vulnerability with the details. After that, we complete the overview of the affected assets, and then we can prioritize the threat. In investigation phase, at first, we need to extract the IOCs. The IOC resources can be threat intelligence department, vendor security researcher articles, if it is a pen test or bug bounty report, for example, so the report should contain the IOCs. But the most important step for the extracting IOCs is to reproduce the exploit on a secure environment. And then you can see the footprints, and also you can see how the vulnerability affecting your environment. Maybe your hardening is working properly and the exploit will be failed. Then so we have the IOCs and we need to query them into the logs. After that, incident response team should consider to perform forensic investigation on the affected environment based on the outcome of the IOC searching. Maybe there are some hits on the IOCs, or criticality of the environment, or location of the assets. Maybe they are exposed to internet. And then we complete the investigation so we can take some containment actions. I would like to mention about some potential actions like disabling access from the internet, implementing network restrictions, changing configuration, removing registry keys, disabling services, maybe enabling some signatures on the security products. But the most important thing in this step, we have to align with asset owners, stakeholders, and management sides because our actions are affecting business, so we need to have their approval. We took the actions, then we can start to monitor our environment by importing IOCs to security monitoring environments, for example, and increasing monitoring level for the affected assets. And we can continuously perform vulnerability scan. This is really important. And also developing maybe some custom hunting queries. And after that, we can follow up the official articles, announcements released by the vendor. If the patch or solution is applicable, then we can move to remediation phase and we can fix the vulnerability. Then we need to verify it by performing vulnerability scans. It depends on the vulnerability, of course, but usually we can verify it with the vulnerability scans. And if everything is okay, then we can revert all changes, actions made during the threat. So in this slide, I would like to explain the playbook with an example. 1.5 years ago, Microsoft released vulnerabilities on Microsoft Exchange servers. At that time, the CVSS score were around 9.8, and the Exchange environment was our critical infrastructure component. So it was escalated to incident response team. At first, we understood the vulnerability. It was a remote code execution with unauthenticated user and affected all Microsoft Exchange servers versions. Then we completed the overview of the vulnerable assets within ING, and also we gave P1 priority, it means critical, to the threat. Then we gathered the IOCs from the Intel department and we reproduced the exploit codes on a secure environments. We extract the IOCs. We check the network topology of the affected assets to understand the attack surface, and we perform forensic investigation on Outlook web access servers which were exposed to the internet with some custom scripts. And in the meantime, we turned off the internet access for them and enable some signatures on web application firewalls and IPSs. Then we started to monitor the environments with the IOCs, and also we feed the security monitoring with new indicators if we have. And we performed continuously vulnerability scan. This is really important, as I mentioned, in the remediation phase, monitoring phase, because, for example, we identified, for example, 10 assets with the first scan, and then with the second and third scan, we identified a couple of additional assets. While we were doing that, so the server owners were testing the patches on the test environments. Then they started to apply the patches to production environments. When it is done, then we verified it with the vulnerability scan reports. We applied some additional security layers, like moving Outlook web access to behind of VPN access, and also enabling multi-factor authentication, for example. After that, at the end, we revert all other changes. So I would like to wrap up the session with 3 highlights. First is having a clear process. And with this process, we can define the roles and responsibilities and maybe in place a decision flow. Then we can define incident response team involvement to the cases. And also the last thing is ISO extractions. It is really important because we need to know that our environment have been compromised already or not. So thank you so much for listening me. This is my contact information and you can always reach out to me. Thanks. Bye bye.